By the autumn of 1781, the rebellion was nearly exhausted, but a secret move toward a Virginia port would decide the fate of a continent. You are watching the story of the American Revolution, the war that created the United States and dismantled the British hold on the New World. 6 years of continuous combat have left the colonies hollowed out. Markets are empty, and currency is worthless, and the Continental Army is on the verge of total collapse. Without a decisive victory now, the revolution will simply run out of resources. Seeking a secure deep-water port, British General Charles Cornwallis moves his 7,000-man army into Yorktown, Virginia. He settles in behind defensive earthworks, confident that the Royal Navy will soon arrive to resupply his troops or evacuate them if necessary. George Washington sees an opening. He abandons his plans in the north and coordinates a secret 400-mile march. Thousands of American and French soldiers begin moving south in a synchronized strike to pin Cornwallis against the coast. As the Allied columns slip away, the British command remains focused on New York, entirely unaware that the majority of the American army is already descending on Virginia. This map illustrates the French naval blockade in September 1781. Here, the French fleet takes control of the Chesapeake Bay, forcing the British to retreat. With the bay held, Cornwallis is trapped. The ocean, his only escape, is now a wall of French cannons. On land, Washington's forced march reaches its destination. The French and American armies link up, stretching a continuous line of soldiers across the peninsula and cutting Yorktown off from the rest of the colonies. Under the cover of heavy rain and pitch darkness, the Allied troops begin a grueling manual labor project. French and American soldiers work side by side to dig miles of parallel trenches into the Virginia soil. These trenches allow the Allies to move their heavy siege guns into position. By staying below ground level, the crews can wheel massive cannons within firing range without being picked off by British sharpshooters. Night after night, the trenches inch forward. The Allies move with mechanical precision, slowly extending their reach toward the British fortifications. Washington has replaced the chaos of the battlefield with a calculated physical noose. He is no longer fighting a war of movement. He is conducting a siege designed to break the British army from the outside in. Once the guns are set, the Allied artillery ignites. A relentless, round-the-clock bombardment begins, raining iron shells directly into the British camps. Inside the town, the impact is devastating. British soldiers endure constant ground tremors as their wooden barracks and earthen walls are pulverized by fire they cannot return. Washington tightens the pressure, sees the outer British redoubts in the dark, allowing the artillery to move even closer to the center of the town. By mid-October, Cornwallis faces a stark reality. His defenses are in ruins. His supplies are gone. The French fleet blocks the harbor. There is no hope for rescue. On October 19, 1781, the fighting stops. Over 7,000 British troops march out to a field outside Yorktown to stack their muskets and surrender to the Allied command. The loss of an entire field army at Yorktown effectively breaks the British government's resolve. In London, the political support for a long-distance war finally collapses. The surrender triggers immediate peace negotiations. Diplomats from both sides meet in France to determine how to dismantle the colonial administration. This is the 1783 Treaty of Paris. These signatures represent the moment the British Empire officially recognized the 13 colonies as a sovereign, independent nation. But independence had come at a staggering human cost. Thousands had died in camp and on the field, and the new nation's infrastructure was largely in ruins. Contrast this devastation with the result. A coalition of colonial farmers and French sailors had forced the world's most powerful global empire to yield. The blood spilled at Yorktown turned the theoretical arguments of this document into a physical, inescapable reality. With the British gone, the newly independent states faced a final internal test, building a government that could actually protect the freedom they had just won. The war was over, but the work of a nation was only beginning. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to History Stories Dose so you never miss the next chapter of history.